So with that, I'd like to welcome Mas.
Thank you so much. Morning. How many people are new here? Good number of you. Okay. And then most of you kind of know something about me or are kind of new to me, right? Kind of new to me? All right. A lot of times we've grown so fast, or I've grown so fast. In fact, in just a couple months, actually about 2.5 months, we're one of the fastest growing podcasts. So you might take a look at that. Listen to that. It's called Exponential Intelligence, and I'll be sharing what exponential intelligence is, but it is a podcast for you to listen to. We've got a couple episodes every week for you. They're free. We do small, what I call meta healings. I'll explain what meta healings are now. You guys have all heard about meditation, right? How many people meditate in this room? Good number of you. Meditate or pray, something similar to that, take walks, so on like that. Anyway, it's a state of calming your nerves, calming your mind, coming into more balance. Okay? Usually I guide you into that, say, balance much faster, much easier, even if you've had issues before, trying to quiet the mind or anything like that. On top of that, what I do is I work on you on the back end or core level, or I'm a computer programmer by trade. Okay, I was a computer programmer for about 15, 20 years. So basically, while I get you into a nice deep meditative state, I work on the back end at the admin level for you to help you reprogram. Okay? In a nutshell, that's what I do for those new individuals, or even people who are somewhat new, is that I do program you at a much deeper level than most of you can, say, access. Okay? And if you look at my website, Sajady.com, there's a lot of testimonials on, massive transformations. Some of the common ones, and I do say common, is where, say, people start to, say, walk after they've had issues after 20-some years and so on like that. Again, they're not really extreme, although very, say, miraculous type stuff like that happens quite a bit with the work that we do. Again, why does that happen? It's not because, say, I'm gifted. Well, I am gifted, but it basically is like I am a reflection of what you guys are actually about. Okay? I just woke up very fast through my second near-death experiences. So I've had 2 near-death experiences that allowed me to go to those higher realms and see who we truly are as humans. Right? So again, I'm a reflection. I'm not the source of what heals you or what transforms you in any area of your life, whether it's spiritual or I know a lot of you are looking for, say, that spiritual connection, but again, it's physical, spiritual, relationships, finances, whatever it might be. Okay? One thing too, just scanning the group, just a couple notes. I always work on the whole group. Okay, while I'm talking, some of you might be feeling a little different already, or maybe even before, right, the seminar, this talk, you guys might have been feeling a little different. We can talk about how that happens or how that works as well. So I'm always working on you. We'll do a quick meta healing. Okay, we're about 5-10 minutes where I'll walk around and work on you. The theme of Lake Harriet this month is, what was it? Beautiful. Yes, celebrating all that's right with the world. So let's talk about that because it is the most beautiful time to be awakened. Okay? This time, though, is very, say, disturbing for a lot of people because there's a lot of change coming through from the universal patterns that are happening for us. Okay? So a lot of people think it's, say, the dark times. The economy's not, say, that stable, right? The government systems aren't that stable throughout the world. There's a lot of governments going bankrupt, except there's a lot of states that are bankrupt, except maybe one here in the U.S. And then the religion systems too, whether it's Islam or Catholic or anything like that. they're kind of getting destabilized as well, right? So it is the most beautiful time to be awakened or here. And why is that? It's because it's a time of massive change. That change that we're going to see in the next few years, usually it might take like 50 or 100 or a few hundred years because of a purity, okay, or a magnification of all the frequencies that are coming through humankind, okay? That'll affect all humans and maybe other planetary systems as well. Again, magnifying or strengthening everything. If you're on the right side of that wave, okay, you will, say, go and strengthen, not just physically. Okay, you'll be more abundant physically, but then on the spiritual side as well. So both sides will get enhanced. Does that make sense to you guys? Okay. So again, many people think that it's going to be dark times, there's going to be collapses, things like that. Yes, there is. But it's like just like taking a shower, right? All the dirt has to be removed for the newness, for the new growth to really come up and get really, really fertile. Okay? So whenever you're in those dark times, when you're having issues, personal issues, financial issues, because many people will, say, get pushed into seeing what their issues are about at a deeper level. Okay? Because the truth has to, say, get forced up or get called up into your reality for you to transform. Okay? Those times are times of strength for you if you use them as times of strength. Okay? One of the best ways, with or without me, I just do it faster for you. One of the best ways for you when you are in those times of, say, doubt, despair, and so on like that, start to become present in your body. Okay? Noticing your spine, noticing any part of your body. It doesn't really matter. And then look at your, say, situation that you're in. Again, no matter how dark it gets, you'll start to see, say, the beauty and grace that was instilled in that situation for you. Okay? To give you an example, my first near-death experience, after I separated from my body, after I understood who I was at a deeper level, I'm not a culmination of all the experiences, because that's what you guys think you are, right? A culmination of all the experiences that you've had in this lifetime. That's not true. Again, I separated from my body, and that at that time, I knew a grander perspective of who I was. The experiences that I had in physical form probably created maybe less than, say, or around 1% of who I was. Okay? The other 99%, guys, we don't even pay attention to. We don't even care, because what, we're too worried about making money, feeding the family, and so on and so on, right? Although, once you get connected to that 99%, that 1% naturally comes to you. It effortlessly really comes to you. Yes, there's work involved on your part to expand and grow, but it does naturally come to you. It's happened to a lot of people that I've worked on, by the way. Anyway, when I've seen my life, because my first near-death experience, my whole life flashed through. Didn't really flash through, but since we don't have the brain capacity, we think it flashes through. But you do relive your whole life experience. At least I did in that one or maybe less second. So a time value. We can talk about time later. But what I was trying to impress upon you is that as I relived my whole life, there was no I could have, or no I should have, or dang, why did that happen to me, and so on and so on. It was all a sense of beauty and grace. Even the dark times that I went through, okay? When I went through them again, the learning, or not the learning, or the remembering, or the expansion of why that was there for us, okay, came out. So again, I'm just telling you or reminding you, those dark times is a place of power and strength for you, okay? So with that, I know a lot of you probably want me to work on you, so it's not really what I say, it's really the frequencies that I generate for you. You can ask me any question that you want, by the way. If you want to keep it, say, general, so it helps all of the audience, that'd be fantastic. Okay? Any Yes.
Hi, Moss.
Hi.
I am wondering, how do cultural, generational, spiritual things happen? Just curious, how does that become, and
Cultural
when
generation.
it comes to, I am living here and now, but,
Mhm.
whether it's me or somebody who lives from another country,
Sure.
how does that, what my ancestors do, carry forward in the contracts that they had signed?
Sure. Did everybody hear the question? How do cultural things like start or happen for people? And if you're new and you ask a question, I'd invite you to come on up and I can say work on you, just so you get a feel. Obviously, I can't work on everybody. Okay, so if I've worked on you before, I won't work on you. Again, just to expedite things. Let me tell you a little story about how that happens. This little girl, she comes up to her mom. She goes, "Mommy, Mommy, why do you cook such a small turkey in such a big pan?" And she goes, "I don't know. Ask Grandma." So she runs up and asks Grandma. She goes, "Grandma, Grandma, why do you cook such a small turkey, such a big pan?" She goes, "I don't know. Ask, Great Grandma." And luckily, Great Grandma was there, and she did. "Great Grandma, why do you cook such a small turkey in such a big pan?" And she said, "Well, honey, that's all we had in those days." It's really as simple as that. Some of the tools that you guys use, okay? Some of the tools that your, say, great relatives have used, okay? It was the best tool at the time, either spiritually or physically, and that's carried on as a generation. It really is simple as that. Let me give you a more striking example, a spiritual example. There's a few people, well, a good number of you actually, maybe about a third of you that maybe have had, say, some sort of physical abuse, whether physical, mental, sexual abuse, like as childhood. What have you guys done? Okay, you guys have basically, say, separated from your identity as being physical. Okay, so there's your spirit body, and then your spirit body is like around your physical form, and then you have your physical form. Okay, when you get some kind of abuse, whether you've seen it or had it experience yourself, what do? You remove yourself. That's why people get that blank stare or that blankness in themselves, okay? Because their spirit is removed or pushed out. You can do that as a child. So you've used that tool. It's a fantastic tool. As you've grown up, whenever you see stress or tension, what happens? You start to leave your body. It's not a good tool for you anymore. It's an outdated tool and it distorts you. Okay? Did that make sense? So it's something simple as that. And that's where cultural things happen for you. And that's why religions or, shamanic things or anything of that nature, okay, you have to understand how it originated so you can use the purpose of why it was originated. Okay? Not because it's just something that culture does or that family does. Right? Other questions?
Yes, hello.
Hi.
Hi. I had a stroke in March,
Mm-hmm.
and I have lost the peripheral vision on my right eye.
Okay. Do you want to come on up? I can just work on you quickly.
Okay, thank you. And I also have had two near-death experiences.
Yes.
Yourself.
Yes, and I see you, and you also are, say, a duplicate of your grandfather, from what I'm seeing. Very similar tendencies or patterns that you guys create. Does that make sense?
Yes, I
So-
believe it does.
Yeah. So, again, if you're new to me, no, I know you're not, but if you guys are, say, new to me, I see at a conscious level what you guys see at a subconscious level. Okay? So when I see his patterns, I actually see, say, patterns of his grandpa running. So it's kind of like not a complete cookie cutter, but kind of a somewhat half and half. So half of it is his identity, half of it is his grandfather's identity. That near death creates like a short that I'm seeing. And since I've worked on you before, you've kind of connected more. Sometimes we just need a little help to bring you back into, say, your true connection. So it's not like a faulty connection. Does that make sense for you?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. How's your heart now? Well, since I've worked on it, it's a lot more, say, it's more stable, or you're more stable.
I feel more stable.
Yeah. So, people think that, hereditary, what mom had, what parents had, so on like that. It's just like, well, I'm going to have it too, right?
No.
It's not really true. Yeah. Yeah, PC, people who've been with me, they go, no, that's not true. So, there you go. How do you feel?
I feel great right
Good.
now.
Good. That'll connect even more. You'll actually get reconnected. And since you've had that near-death experience, you'll understand it from a higher perspective rather than distorted. That's why you're here. Okay? Well, thank you. Anyway, hereditary, guys, is just patterns from family lineage that have been brought down. A lot of patterns, you think just like diabetes, heart issues, things like that. A lot of patterns have been brought down. In fact, there was an interesting news article on, say, what experiences your grandma had came down into you. I forgot, I think it must have been the Washington Post or Washington, New York Times or something like that. So they actually, whatever experiences your grandma had, it goes into the DNA and then you retrieve that. Okay? In essence, I'm a DNA reader. So I can like scan through, I can see what's happening with you presently, and I can go back and say, oh, this happened to you in your younger days and so on like that. So in that essence, I'm somewhat like an oracle. Okay? I can see the past. I can foretell the future for you. A little bit better than an oracle is I can actually edit the past and the present and future for you. So kind of blending in different realities. Yes? Scientifically, I wouldn't know. I'd like to verify that, but yes. To me, it actually does change their DNA structure because that's where all the coding is really held for people. Okay? So, for example, I don't know if you have heart issues, there's just like a void right in this chest area that as soon as you ask that question, that opened up. A lot of things just like sink into you. It's kind of like a vacuum. It's not like a complete void. And maybe you've been with me. Have you been with me before? Never? Are you new? Oh, do you want to come on up? I'll just work on you quickly. Kind of close up that void. Does that make sense? Yeah. To you? Do you have a void right here? Yeah. So what happens for this gentleman, if you don't mind me sharing, is that all his life, from what I'm seeing, he's always, say, wanting to or trying to, say, get connected, either with himself or with other people or with an identity or something like that. Does that make sense to you? Okay. So why does that happen? Most people think it must be me, right? It must be something that I'm doing. And it doesn't help because the underlying frequencies are actually, say, causing the situations that you have in your life. Okay? So many people, again, they blame themselves for the things that has happened in their life. Or other people blame you for the things that have happened in your life. Kind of like that saying, it's your bed. What is it? You made it. You got to sleep in it. Not true. Somebody else made it. You're sleeping in it. Sins of the father. In religious terms, that's what they're talking about. Some of the stuff upline has been brought into you. And that's why there's just a void that it is like a vacuum. In this gentleman's case, from what I'm seeing, he really can't hold on to, say, a lot of substance either. So he kind of just like floats Abundance, finances, relationships, all that. When I see you as safe frequencies. So whether you're here physically or on the phone, I can say summon your frequency and then edit you, because there's no time or space at the levels that I work. If you want to go deeper into that, what I do is actually for your afterlife, okay? Because it clears your slate of who or what you think you are, and then you can create a life without distortion. The side effect is that you benefit here in this lifetime. How are you feeling? A lot of stuff just like releasing, a lot of memories, especially from childhood, from what I'm seeing, kind of like resolving itself. You're trying to see what the whole story was in trueness, rather than what the distortion that your, say, mom especially kind of brought in. Does that make sense? Yeah. So that'll keep expanding for you. All right. You're welcome. Yes. Can you use the mic, because sometimes they can't get it on the thing.
You were talking about taking things on from your grandparents or grandmother or something
Yes.
like that. I've suffered with depression my entire life. A Chinese practitioner that worked on me said that, part of their culture, the way he explained it, was that someone in the family takes on some of the karma for the family.
Yes.
And he said that I took on my grandmother's depression, and she was a very depressed person. So I'm wondering if that holds true in my case.
Yeah, I can see that happening. Do you want to come on up? I can actually bring you back into, say, this reality. Okay. So did you guys all hear that? He basically absorbed his grandmother's depression, and that's true. But why do you absorb your grandmother's, say, depression? Is because at their level, from what I'm seeing, they're not connected to time. Okay, and that's a deeper, a truer reasoning why, say, that depression passes on. See, when you're not connected to time, when I see him, is that I see his frequencies, and then it's like he's been hit. And in cartoons, when you get hit, you know how like they kind of swing backwards? So there's a duplicate of him like here. Does that make sense to you? Do you feel like another heaviness or something else? Yeah. So anyway, he's here, and then he has another time frame, which is here. Okay? Just like your eyes, right? Although it's they're very close apart, they're 4 or 5 inches apart, that's how you tell depth. Or your hearing, right? That's how you can tell where sounds come from, right? When you're here, it tells you where you are in the, say, space-time continuum. And I'm not going to get into the quantum physics of it and all that, but when you're distorted, when you're in 2 time frames, basically, what happens is that there's a void in you that you always trying to, say, connect with, and that's where the deeper, darker depressions come through. Okay? So let's bring you back.
When you do those theta healing classes, is that when you
I'm sorry, what?
theta healing classes? Is that when you
Yes, I can bring you in. Again, I don't have to say work on you individually. I can work on you as a group to bring you in. But let's just bring you in, disconnect you, say, from that family space. Along with that, just kind of reading your grandma. She tended to stay away from her intuitive abilities, from what I'm seeing. Does that make sense? His family, another thing of that depression is that his family comes from, say, a gifted family, but to get that gift, somebody actually did sell basically their soul or spirit to the devil to get the darkness. So his grandmother basically knew that, so she's tended to stay away from her, say, intuitive abilities. Okay? because the darkness. Well, even Jesus said anybody can heal you. Be careful on how they heal you. Make sure that they heal you from the source of Jesus used God. I use pure source. So that's how that family lineage or when somebody sells, say, their soul or essence, right, to acquire, actually we're going to do a forum on this, say great wealth, great knowledge, great power, great abilities, it does affect people down the line. Not she didn't do it, she was aware of it. She was actually intuitive, but she couldn't, say, get away from that bond. It's like 3-4 generations above her, somebody actually did that. It was kind of a religious type deal. Let me see. So, if you look in your family history, you guys were, say, acquired, or a lot of knowledge religious-wise? That religious kind of turned sour, right? People get carried away with really extreme religion, and what do? They think they're much, much better, higher than a lot of other people. So it turns into a dark or satanic type feel. Okay. How are you feeling right now? Yeah, a little different. You'll actually start coming back later on. I'll ask you how you feel towards the end. Okay? Very well. Other questions? Who's new? That lady with her hands really high. You? Yes, you. Are you new? Yes. Do you want to come on up? I can work on your hips and so on. Does that sound good? That lower half from here down. Just a lot of issues from what I'm seeing. Yeah? Yeah. So, anyway. Are you okay? Do you want to ask your question, or we can just hang out? Just open you up. Again, a lot of, say, our physical issues that we think is physically based. Okay? Why don't they, say, ever heal, or why don't they keep, say, you fix something, or you even go as far as having a surgery in that one area, and then later on, something else happens that distorts that area over and over again. You know, why does that happen? Because the frequencies underlying, creating that area is not, for her, is not, say, complete. There's a lot of, say, darkness that's been buried. Yeah, we don't need to get into, say, the personal stuff, but again, family heritage, a lot of family secrets, things like that, really, really, say, been buried, distorted. Generation after generation, she continues on with that. And then we think it's, say, it's the sin that we've done and so on like that. It's not true. It's a pattern. It's okay, sweetie. Let's just get, say, open this area up, remove, say, the darkness, the pattern, some of the contracts that's been signed. In fact, your family has been, say, so diligent on trying to, say, remove this pattern. They've tried, like, say, anything, and then what happens when you try anything? What do? You get sucked into, say, bad contractors, right? That do a crappy job for you, and then you get, say, stuck in the hole even more. So you find yourself in situations like she does, that, like, pull her in that darkness even more, and she can't help it. Does that make sense, honey? Yeah, that's why. So, it is like a vacuum. There we go. So let's kind of get rid of all that. By the way, if I'm working on her certain situations, then it's like whoever has that in the audience, it's like I'm working on as well. How are you feeling? A lot of release, all that junk, family. So, you're welcome. Anybody else who's new? Or, yeah, I can pick you, and then I'll grab you. Okay. Yes. Hi. How are
I don't
you?
have any questions, whatever I
You-
haven't figured out about me, maybe you can work out.
Oh, you don't have any questions? Sure. Let's talk about your mom. You know, you kind of run in a group. Your mom or your aunt or your sister. It's like three of you that always say run together. Whatever issue that, say, they have, you probably absorb. Okay? And then other people, experiences, you start to absorb and you start to create your own, say, flavor of those experiences. Does that make sense? And you worry a lot, which is really a great, say, tool. So even if there was nothing to worry about, she would worry about that as well. Does that make sense? for you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, it's not her tool, but you know, when the three of them they get together, I mean, what is there to talk about? So they have to worry about something, right? Or talk about something, or fix something. But it really distorts her, because then she's always, say, looking for that worry spot. So let's get rid of that. Let's disconnect you from your, say, mom. And I think it's a sister, or somebody that feels like a sister. It could be, again, your aunt or a real sister, from what I'm seeing. Oh. Does that make sense? Did your mom lose a child?
Pardon?
Your mom lost a child?
Yes.
Yeah. So that's who it is. Because I was seeing your mom and then somebody not, like, kind of transparent. So that person never, like, went forward since they were meant to, say, be here at some level, because you guys always travel as a threes. Even at spirit level, they're here and it actually distorts you. Got it. Oh, so that's the deal. Okay. So, some death. Death actually attracts death, by the way. So that spirit probably attracted. So let's release them. Okay, make sure your brother's where he needs to be. Whoever, say, got lost in birth. Which will actually really, say, disconnect you and your mom from a lot of things. You two might actually feel separate, or might not want to talk to each other for a little bit, just because you have to grow independently. And then you'll come back stronger without that, say, void that keeps you guys connected. So it's a real relationship. Not a relationship of burdens or worries. Doing okay, sweetie? Getting really, really hot. A lot of stuff happening for you. Okay? You're welcome. Hey guys, by the way, my hands are a little dirty. I love construction. I was putting a fireplace. They're clean though, so just a little stained. Do you have a question, sweetie? The best way to keep the distortions clean on a daily basis is really be, say, again, in real time. Time is really what I do for you. I edit time frames. If you look at animals, trees, anything like that, rocks, they're stuck in the present moment. Okay? Although they have memories, they're stuck in the present moment. And that's why everything is, say, blessed to them. Everything is abundant. Everything is, say, provided for them, just like us. If we became, say, stuck in the present moment, everything would be perfect for us, okay? Everything would be, say, abundant for us, no matter what it is. Whether it's, say, $10,000 a month or, you know, $100,000 a month, you know, if you look at it financially, it'll be provided for you. Okay? Yes, there's still work involved, but if that's what you need to be, say, abundant, your definition of abundance, it will be, say, provided for you. And that's where the present or the power space is. So to get rid of distortions, like you said, that's the first step, getting rid of those distortions, again, by being completely present. So no matter where you are, what's happening to you, notice your body, okay? Or notice something inanimate around you while that distortion is happening, while anything's happening. While you're taking a shower, notice again the water hitting your body. Or, if you're shaving or putting on makeup, you guys really look at that person looking back at you? You guys have never done that. The first glance, by the way, might be really scary for you. That's why a lot of people don't look into their eyes. But once you do, again, you get sucked into the present moment. So, again, you're really a nice person. You're a helper. And the way you help people is, well, you physically help them, but then you absorb their issues as well. Does that make sense? So their issues, although you're helping them, eventually turn into your issues. And even if you haven't, say, been around them, say, for example, somebody, again, a lot of grandmas, you absorb. So people who cross over in your family, they really don't say cross over in your family. They get absorbed into, well, the younger generation. So, and then you start to have, say, those hereditary type issues. So as you get older, you might have like heart issues, things like that. That kind of run in your family, but it doesn't have to be, say, true for you. There you go. How are you feeling? Very different? Very good. Yes? I'm sorry, say that again? I'm sorry, what?
The older generation in her family were just saying they come down to the younger gen. Does that mean they reincarnate, or it's their
No, they
energy?
actually, they never say go into the heavenly space. Okay? They just die, and then they melt into the younger generation. Okay? Just to give you an example of, well, how does that happen, right? Once you die, then, you're aware. A lot of people aren't aware as they cross over. So in their patterns, they just hold on to their family. Okay, if you ask her, you guys hold on to or remember your dead a lot? Do you guys remember or honor your dead a lot, quite a bit? Yeah. Huh? Yeah, well, it seems like your whole family does that. So why does that happen? Because, well, their dead is around them. That's why they remember, because she actually senses that. So yes.
So do the physical ailments of the dead come back?
Yes.
I'm sorry. Do the physical ailments of the dead who come back and sort of morph
Yes.
into you, they become your physical ailments as
Yes,
well?
exactly.
And once you get rid of them, if you get them out of you,
Yes.
do those physical ailments go away?
Yes. They tend to recover faster
Yes.
from them. Yes.
Thanks.
Let me give you a story. Who's new? Again, you pick somebody. Tina. And while you're picking out, let me give you a story. Some of you have been with me, might have heard this before, but it's so, say, such a, it's a textbook example. Do you want to come on up and I can work on your, it seems like you've got scoliosis or something like that. Kind of like a curved back, especially your mid-back. So, let me see. Does that make sense? For you?
Probably.
Yeah. Do you have digestive issues? You're just kind of really slow here. Yeah, so that's why I said digestive issues. You don't absorb as much either. Anyway, so let's work on that. Let's, well, for you, while I work on you, basically, she might think she's got digestive issues, and she does, but where does it stem from? And you might look at the digestion area, but it's actually her back her back, like from that midsection, is say so compressed, the nerves radiating into her organs don't work as well, and then they get kind of sloggy or slow, from what I'm seeing. Does that make sense to you? So she might not have say back problems, but that's where her digestion comes through. Anyway, as I work on her, kind of open her up. And by the way, if you have, say, back or spinal type issues, you might actually feel some adjustments going on for you as well. Anyway, this woman, she was probably in her like late 50s, 60s, very nice, say, feeling woman. This was over the phone, and you know, she came to me for some reason, and I started going, "Wow, do you drink?" She goes, "Yeah, I drink sometimes." You know, I started drinking about 6, 7 years ago. I mean, which is fine. You know, I'm thinking, glass of wine and all that, which is cool. And then I go, "Well, do you smoke too?" You know. And she goes, "Yeah, started that about 6, 7 years ago too." I go, "Okay." Kept working on her. It got more and more prevalent. Asked her, I go, "Well, do you go to bars?" You know, sometimes, a hotel bar or a nice bar. No, these are kind of like the seedy type bars, strip clubs, stuff like that. It just didn't fit her, say, persona. She goes, "Oh my God, sometimes I go to these places, I wake up, look around, and I go, what the hell am I doing here?" And at that moment, her brother came in, who had committed suicide, and he told me the whole story. I go, "Your brother committed suicide?" She goes, "No, he overdosed on drugs." It's like, no, it was really a suicide from what he was telling me. But basically, it was all her brother's habits. He never ascended anywhere. He just walked right into her. Okay? And she started literally taking on, adopting. Or, again, that brother takes over. There was a news article, if you guys want to read more, on the Washington Post. It was a 50-year-old black woman who was blind. Okay? In one of her personalities, she had 14 of them. Okay? One of her personalities, oh, by the way, when she was younger, she had something damaged done to her optic nerve, so she was blind. That's how she became blind. Anyway, one of her personalities, it was a 14 or 13-year-old young boy who could see. That was his experience. She got stuck in that personality. So in a few short days or hours, I don't remember, her optic nerve started to heal. Doctor said that they could never heal, she could never see. She started seeing clearly. Okay? So that's how powerful that is. Although she's stuck in a 14-year-old boy's body, I could probably help her out with that. Anyway, that's what I do is I change, say, those realities or those frequencies that are resonating with you. Obviously not at that level or speed. I mean, it's happened for some people, though, as my abilities go stronger and stronger. But that can kind of give you an example of what the possibilities are there for you. There we go.
May I ask you a question?
Sure, sweetie. You have a lot of generational stuff that's layered and layered
Exactly.
and
How
layered
did you know
and layered.
that? My mother.
I can read your whole book. I probably know more about you than you do.
My mother is a very unusual person.
Yes.
And it looks
And so
like
is your
she was
grandma and so
flowers
on.
just above my head.
Yes.
And I want to get out of it because I'm
Yes.
a different person. My life is different destination.
Yes.
You know, it looks like that cloud is pressing me down.
Yes.
What should I do to
Well, you're here.
Fly away.
You'll actually see that separate from you. And that's that stuff. All that stuff that you keep, they keep like journals or photo albums, okay, that they hand down from generation to generation. In fact, when you're like, I'm thinking like three years of age, your mom would tell you or get you ready unconsciously to say absorb all the patterns, that photo album, okay, even at 3 years old. Does that make sense? Since you're more of an intuitive type person, you're going, God, I don't need this book. I don't need this stuff. Does that make sense? So you've always like pushed your family dynamics away from you, although they always like surround you. Does that make sense? They keep coming into you. But that takes a lot of, say, energy to keep pushing stuff away. And then eventually, if say you didn't do anything about it, okay, what happens when you get older? You get weaker. It's like, I give in, you know, and then it all comes in. So that's why you're here. So I released that for you. You're welcome, honey. Yes. Hey, buddy. By the way, if you guys are not familiar, Purium, it's really a good nutritional drink. It's one of the greenest drinks you could ever get. In fact, if you're having a green drink, it's probably made by Purium. They make it for 60 other companies. So if you're interested, they have some samples. Hi.
Hi. I got 3 notices to come here, and I had no idea why. I got an email last night telling me...
Really?
I'm having
Are you
dinner.
new to me?
I'm new to you, yeah.
Oh,
You're
wow.
new to me, I'm new to you, we're new to each other. But maybe I'm not on other levels.
Maybe not.
Yeah. But you look familiar. I don't, can't recall
sure.
exactly. But,
Sure.
but what I feel is that I'm hearing a lot of stuff that's not mine. It's like,
Yeah, I see that, especially like in your lower hip area. The notices are probably coming. Getting a lot of generational stuff here today. From your grandfather,
yeah, right.
from what I'm seeing. He's
I never knew my grandparents in any way.
yeah,
So I didn't get to know anybody.
yeah, it happened quite young. From what I'm seeing. There we go. So what? So this happens, although might sound strange to you guys, but this actually happens quite a bit. People who have crossed over and they're stuck in the family dynamics, they start to awaken, and then, they send somebody like him to me, okay, and they go, hey, this guy can help you out, okay, and then, no worries. No worries. You can be skeptical. I bypass all that. It's nothing physically. Yeah. So sometimes when people say commit suicide, well, actually, almost every time people commit suicide, they don't go anywhere. That's what purgatory is called. They're stuck in a reality so deep, they keep creating the same thing over and over again. Anyway, they start to awaken, and then their friends or relatives or whoever come to me, and they go, Mas, I have a back problem. I go, yeah, let's fix your back, but let's, work on the guy that, say, killed himself or something like that. So, because they want to be set free. So that your grandfather is actually here to say, help, have me help your lineage break free from, say, the burden. You guys have always been, say, burdened. Well, that's not a coincidence, by the way. Yeah. You probably start seeing images, things like that, of your grandfather as he comes into you, rejoices from what I'm seeing, and then takes off later on or soon
He
here.
appeared to me out of the fire as an ascended master.
Yes, he's very, say, enlightened individual, but for some reason he couldn't figure out how to, say, disconnect the family dynamic. So, there you go. How are you feeling, my friend?
Peaceful.
Again, your grandfather will start coming in, kind of dumping all that knowledge that he had in you. It's actually quite beautiful knowledge. A lot of nature type stuff from what I'm seeing. He'll come into you and then give you all the good stuff of that knowledge without the distortions in your say, flavor, and then take off. Sure. Thank you. Hi. Physically, your back is going to feel better. So, hi. Sorry. Anything that you want to work on other than removing the burdens of the world for you? Wow. You're so, say, compressed. Does that make sense? Anyway, questions or? relationship? Yeah. You know, so she wanted to work on relationships, repeat patterns. What happens when you're carrying the burdens of the world, you do get, say, compressed if you have so much heaviness. Okay? Not even, a lot of it is not even her experiences. You know, again, from the family dynamics. Since she's a stronger type individual, she's kind of offered, she's kind of offered to, say, take on the burdens of the family. So your siblings or whoever kind of dump their stuff on you. Does that make sense? Are you, say, that listener type person? Yeah, people always come to you, right? Ask for advice and stuff all the time. Yeah. It's not that they come to you to ask for advice. It's like you have a sign that says, I'll take your burdens. Just throw them on me because I'm going that way anyway. Right? So that's what she does. She'll attract people. Even people, like if she rides a bus, person she'll sit next to, she'll start talking about stuff. Okay? Does that make sense? Yeah. So why does that happen? Again, subconsciously, you guys see what I see. Okay? We'll talk about, say, communication, on how communication works or how your reality exists. And it's interesting that even if you go to, say, some foreign country, you'll be treated the same, right? Why is that? Right? If you've been, say, abused, neglected, or if you've been, say, treated lucky, you go to that country, you'll be treated the same way. The reason being is the frequencies. Remember I told you your spirit body's around you? Okay? When you connect, whether it's face-to-face or any other ways, the two spirits connect, and it's like, oh, I see in her example, she takes on burdens. Okay? You guys see that at a subconscious level. It's like, oh, since she wants to experience taking on burdens, I'll give her my burdens. And that's what you do. So let's break that for you. You'll actually, the relationships that you've had in the past, okay, that's why they've formed. The male relationships, always guys that are looking for a mother figure type feel. Does that make sense? Yeah. So they're not looking for a mate. They're looking for a mother to, Mom, can you do this for me type feel. So let's get rid of that. So no matter what she does, right, if, say, she wasn't aware of it, she would attract. So you can go from relationship to relationship. But once that's removed, and for her, it's actually very quick. She'll just see different types of people coming into her. More people like who can, say, strengthen you from what I'm seeing, because that's what you're looking for. You still like the challenge, but you'll get strengthened, and they'll get strengthened without burdening yourself. There you go. How are you feeling? You'll feel a lot taller, too. Does that make sense? You're welcome, sir. How much time do we have?
It's time.
It's time? Okay, guys. Again, if you guys want to connect with me, one of the best ways is the podcast. It's the hottest podcast actually on iTunes now, which we're proud of. Over 100,000 downloads in just a couple months. So anyway, it's called Exponential Intelligence. Okay, there's a lot of group healings that we do, a lot of seminars. In fact, there's a free global healing, okay? And it's similar to this. And you guys, if you guys are interested, look on the website, Sajady. I have bookmarks, but it's very limited. I ran out. So for those people who are new that need bookmarks, I don't know where they are. They're around here somewhere. But Sajady, if you just look at it on YouTube, go to my website or Google, there's a lot of good information for you. The details on how to get online tonight, I think it's at 10 o'clock tonight, is on the website as well under events. Okay, but we do a lot of events, a lot of free forums, things like that, if you're interested. So thanks for being here, guys. Notice what you notice. I think that's it. Thank you. Just as a close, again, guys, no matter what situation you're in, you're supposed to be in that situation. Okay? Doesn't mean that you have to stay in that situation. Once you start to really enjoy it, see it from a different perspective, it's really the best way to move out into your abundance. Okay? So notice what you notice. Thank you. Thank you.